Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing good, and I hope that you are being kind to yourself and loving yourself. I know that sounds really foofy to some of you and probably to a lot of you, but the fact is that we're too hard on ourselves and that we're not giving ourselves enough credit, and we're counting all the negative things and none of the positive things. So I hope that you're kind to yourself, and I hope that you're pushing yourself at the same time, because after today's gone, you ain't getting it back. So what I want to talk about today was our feed and how we feed ourselves, and not necessarily about nutrition, but about what we put into our heads. I'm talking to a lot of clients about this. Well, here and there as it comes up, but we all have this internal voice, and it's important whether it's positive or negative. And if it's negative, then we need to look into that and dive in and ask ourselves, why we're beating ourselves up so much. But yeah, you can't shy away from that. You got to peel back those layers and really kind of dive deep. It usually, it's affected by all of our upbringing, the environment we grew up in, and everything affects it. Everything. So the things that we feed ourselves now, like with all the media that we consume and the screen time that we consume and the people that are constantly around us, there's always a message, and it's always getting in. And you know how they say that kids are sponges? Well, so are adults. We just don't show what we learn right away. It's a much more slow process. There's a slow return. But it still really matters. Everything that you take in matters. Whether it's positive or negative, just kind of neutral or lukewarm, it all matters. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So first thing about the feed that we have taking in is the quality of it. Are the things that you're subscribing to, and the shows that you're watching, and the emails you're reading, and the magazines you're reading, and the websites you go to, and your Facebook feed, and all that stuff, is it positive? Is it feeding you? And is it helping you be a better person? Or is it subtracting from your life? I don't know if you can hear that, but a fire truck just went by. So, back to feed quality. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. So, back to feed quality. Pay attention to it, and just for today only, and see, if your feed is just kind of a bunch of people complaining on Facebook, and people showing off the top 0.1% of their life on Instagram, or is it real, and is it helping you move forward? That's a really honest question to ask yourself, and you got to be real with yourself about it. It's hard to not be real with yourself about it, because there's nothing outside of yourself. There's nobody. I'm not going to be there hounding you about it. So be real with yourself. So that's quality. Quality of feed is important. Next thing is positivity. Is it positive or not? If the answer is, I'm not sure, then it's not positive. If it's lukewarm, it's not positive. Our culture, or today's culture, is pretty, adamant about, positivity and all that stuff, but not a lot of it is very positive. So choose things, find things that are positive that you can get in on a daily basis, little tiny things. This is one of them. I just want to be that, that drip in the right direction, and kind of helping people move up, and just, that daily, semi-daily reminder of like, hey, you're doing good, you're on the right path. Good things move slow, and they take a lot of time. And yeah, just find the positive stuff, and get that positive stuff in your feed daily. So here's the thing about negative and positive things. They don't affect the human psyche on a 1-to-1 ratio. And by that I mean, if somebody comes along and says like, hey, you look like real shit today, then you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's gonna like wreck your day probably if you're a normal human being. Some of us are kind of have more thick skin, but I think most of us, especially most people that are listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube video, somebody says something like that to you, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. Whereas if somebody says like, hey, you look great today, you might be like, oh, hey, that's kind of nice to hear, and you know what, I do look good today. If one person says, hey, you look great today, and one person says, hey, you look like shit today, which one are you going to pay more attention to? You're going to pay attention to the negative one. So here's the thing. It takes about 11 verbal hugs, as I call them, to one negative kind of cut like that. So if you get 11 people saying like, hey, you look like pretty nice today. You look pretty good. And you got one person saying like, hey, you look like real shit, man. Then you're going to kind of come out even. So you really got to be making sure that the quantity and the quality of the positivity in your life is high. I can't stress that enough. You know, it's positive, 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 more and more and more all the time. Positive, positive, positive. Don't let up. So we talked about quality, positivity, and hugs, you know, that 11-to-1 ratio. Now I'm going to talk about your circle. So your circle is the people that you spend the most time with. You can't choose your family, but you can choose everybody around that. You know what I mean? And it takes time to craft, and it takes time to be deliberate about it. But when you're deliberate about the kind of people that you choose to be around, good things happen, and it makes a huge difference. And this might be the most powerful thing that you can do is, you know, be deliberate about the people that you're around. If you notice that your best friend is a complainer and every day they're pointing out the things that suck, you're like, oh, it's nice to see you, you know, for the second time this year, but you know, this restaurant kind of sucks, and you know, I think they would be, you know, better at it if they, you know, sat us down to a table sooner. And my food is only like a 8.5 out of 10, not even a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it kind of sucks. If they're bringing you down, if they're being pissy and negative, then I don't know what to tell you, but I ain't having it. So yeah, get some positive people in your life, and positive people, like, you don't have to latch onto them and be best friends with them for them to have a huge impact on your life, which is the cool thing. But just find positive people, and if you tell somebody that's truly positive, like, hey, I noticed you're positive, and I got a lot of shitty people in my life, I want to bump elbows with you a little more often. What do you think? And honestly, they'll probably be like, cool, man. Well, I'll see you more often then. We'll make it a thing. We'll get coffee once a month and just chat about what's going good in life and not what's going shitty. Sorry about my language, but you know what? I'm just going to be me on here, and you know, bad language doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or that, you know, I'm bringing things down. But you know, foul language is foul language, and it's not hurting you. Language is not hurting you. Okay, so we talked about quality of the feed, the positivity of the feed, and your circle and what you can do about that, and being deliberate about the people that you hang out with. Now we're going to talk about the drip. So the drip is just, you know, like an email feed. Let's say you get an email every day, one email a day from a friend, and it's just a little pick me up, like, hey man, do good today. And that's it. That's the whole email. And the next day it's like, hey, remember to drink a lot of water. And the day after that it's like, hey, don't forget, you know, have a vegetable and do one burpee. And you might feel kind of like a dork, but after you do one burpee, your heart rate's going to be up and your mood is going to be improved a little tiny bit. But it's that small drip after drip after drip, day after day after day, that has kind of a compounding effect, and it'll improve your life. So get that drip. Get the consistency of the positive things in your life. It's kind of like, you know, if you're in a boxing ring, it's not just all haymakers and haymakers. You're gonna gas out quick, and you're gonna destroy yourself. Having a quality feed like that, it's just not gonna work. You know, don't look for the thing that's gonna give you an overnight success, the big powerful thing. Look for the little jabs. A good little jab is going to alearningaday.com and signing up for his email. He does an email every day just about something that he learns, and then he shares it with everybody on his email list. And it's as simple as that. Another good one is Seth Godin's blog. Just Google, you know, Seth Godin's blog, Godins, and sign up for his daily email. And they're really, you know, down to earth and positive and really thoughtful. And it just helps to gain perspective. And they're short. Both of those are short daily emails that you can get. Yeah, so jab, 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 little tiny jabs. That's all I have about, you know, talking about feed today. Just make sure that your feed is quality and positive. It'll change your life just a little bit. But you know, if you can do something for free that'll improve your life 10%, then think about the feed, the quality of information that you bring in on a daily basis. Have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or sign up for email or find us on iTunes. Just search Focus or Die. If you have any questions for me, let me know. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.